Zegler also faced blowback after posting Free Palestine. The dough is from Israel and served in the Israeli army.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Madison Starr coming at you with the hottest, juiciest Hollywood tea this side of the silver screen. Today, we're diving into Disney's latest live-action fiasco. Yes, I'm talking about the Snow White remake that's been shaking up the internet and sending shockwaves through Tinseltown. Before we get into this messy tea, do me a favor.
Rachel Zegler is not doing anything to silence all of those reports, rumors, and online chatter that she and Gal Gadot are beefing. Yes, beefing.
Smash that subscribe button because, baby, the drama I'm about to spill, your group chat could never. Now, picture this. The moment Disney announced a live-action Snow White, you'd think they were about to serve up a fairy tale feast that would melt our nostalgic hearts, right?
What was it like seeing yourself for the first time in full Snow White drag?
I love that description. It's perfect. And I saw myself on screen and I just wanted to throw up. I was so happy about it.
Instead, from the get-go, fans, critics, and even insiders sensed something was off. And trust me, as someone who's been around the block more times than a vintage vinyl record, I can tell you, this remake is turning heads for all the wrong reasons. Let's rewind to when the news first dropped. Disney, known for conjuring up magic from its legendary animated classics, decided to reimagine its very first princess story, Snow White, for a new generation. And honey, they were banking on that nostalgic charm.
Rachel Zegler, who stars as Snow White, condemned Prince Charming as weird and a stalker, adding that she hates the original. Nice start. Leaked photos from a set revealed that the seven dwarves had been sensationally axed, replaced by multiracial, gender non-specific, magical humans
to bring in the crowds. But the moment live-action details started to leak, a storm was brewing. Critics began pointing out sweeping deviations from what made the original so beloved. We're talking major changes to the plot, character tweaks that felt more like a modern upgrade than a homage, and a bold, almost reckless attempt to modernize everything. The promise of reimagining a timeless tale quickly morphed into a Pandora's box of controversy. Imagine this. You're cozying up to watch the animated classic that your mama and your grandma adored, and suddenly Disney tells you, nah, let's update it for today's world. And not in a cute, subtle way. Oh no, but with such sweeping changes that even the diehard fans are left scratching their perfectly manicured heads.
We would see people not condemning Hamas, but celebrating, justifying, and cheering on a massacre of Jews.
Now hold on tight, because this isn't just about reimagining a princess. We're talking about a film that landed smack dab in the middle of corporate turbulence. Picture Disney's CEO Bob Iger coming out of retirement, trying to balance theme park struggles, streaming woes, and then bam, the premiere of a film that's more of a box office disaster than a fairy tale triumph. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of what went down at the premiere, let's talk about the casting. Disney pulled a major power move by bringing in Rachel Zegler as Snow White.
Well, seems like Rachel Zegler's heart is shady. Or perhaps she doesn't give an F. To celebrate the film's release, she took to social media and shared this post with 13 pictures from the making of the movie.
Yes, the same Rachel who lit up screens in West Side Story. But here's the kicker. Snow White, a character once described as having skin as white as snow, was now portrayed by a Latina superstar of Colombian and Polish descent. And y'all, the backlash was immediate. Some fans and older trolls on Twitter cried racism louder than a broken record. They couldn't wrap their heads around the idea of a non-white Snow White.
But my name is Gal, and I'm Jewish. And we have had enough of Jew hatred.
But let's be real, this was 2025 and diversity is the name of the game. Rachel was here to break barriers, and she did just that by boldly declaring, yes, I am Snow White, and no, I'm not bleaching my skin for the role. Now, while some of you were cheering on this bold casting choice, others saw it as a betrayal of the classic tale.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
And trust me, fam, this was just The beginning. All right, let's break it down. As production ramped up, whispers started turning into full-blown roars. One major point of contention, the film's reimagining of the dwarfs. In the original tale, Snow White's 7 dwarfs were these quirky, lovable characters, icons of animation history.
13, almost 8, 3.5 and 1, just in one.
That's a lot.
So we experience every hormone possible.
But in this remake, Disney made the radical decision to go all CGI on them, turning them into magical creatures rather than casting real actors with dwarfism. And did that spark outrage? Game of Thrones alum Peter Dinklage, yes, the very same, was one of the loudest critics. On a popular podcast, he said, "You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fetting backward story about 7 dwarfs living in a cave." Can you imagine?
A lot of folks that helped bring Snow White to the big screen. Noticeably absent and not included in this carousel of 13 pictures, you guessed it, her co-star Gal Gadot.
Now, I'm all for reimagining classics, but when your own history is under fire, it's like adding insult to injury. But it wasn't just Dinklage throwing shade. Insider after insider spilled the tea that Disney's decision to replace the dwarfs with CGI wasn't purely creative, it was a calculated move to dodge stereotypes. Apparently, Disney claimed they were consulting with members of the dwarfism community to avoid reinforcing outdated cliches. Sure they were, because nothing says inclusivity like removing opportunities for talented little actors, right?
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
And then, oh honey, the plot thickened, and not in a good way. While some fans might have been excited about a modern twist on a fairy tale, many longtime devotees saw this as a betrayal. The changes weren't subtle. The new Snow White was designed to be a fierce, independent leader, no waiting around for a prince to save her.
So people have been sharing how few people are going to see Disney's Snow White and how bad Gal Gadot is going to be in the movie and like all of that. But I thought this one was hilarious. One single person.
Instead of the traditional romance, the film centered on self-discovery and empowerment. And yes, the very idea that the original love story, which let's face it, had some major red flags like a prince who basically stalks the princess, needed to be completely overhauled, had people split right down the middle. Rachel Zegler wasn't shy about her opinions either. During the build-up, she publicly blasted the original 1937 film as extremely dated, and even went as far as saying that the prince was nothing more than a stalker. Now, I love a woman who speaks her mind. But honey, sometimes you gotta watch the filter. When you dismiss decades of cultural nostalgia like that, you're bound to get roasted. And get roasted she did. Oh, and if that wasn't enough drama for one film, let's not forget the spicy side plot involving co-star Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen. Now, while Rachel was busy championing a modern girl boss Snow White,
The reason Snow White is called Snow White in this version of the film, because of course she is not white as snow, is because she and her family go through a snowstorm and survived the snowstorm.
Gadot, our very own Wonder Woman turned Wicked, was embroiled in her own controversy for her political views. See, Gadot has been outspoken about her support for Israel, especially following the October 7 attacks. And guess what? That clashed head-on with Zegler's very public Free Palestine stance. Now, y'all know how social media works. Once the gossip mill starts churning, it never stops. Insiders started whispering about an on-set feud. Although neither actress has ever confirmed any real tension, the rumors of a rift, of them having nothing in common due to a massive age gap and clashing political views, only added fuel to the fire. And of course, every bit of controversy only helped the trolls.
Why were you crying?
Oh my gosh, I saw we didn't even see, but I saw the logo and I went, that's my name, Snow White's up there, and I cried my eyes out.
But wait, there's more. Let's talk numbers, baby. When the film finally premiered, the box office numbers came in dismally low. Total shocker for a Disney property that once launched blockbusters into the stratosphere. Despite all that glitter and promise, the film's opening was as underwhelming as a soggy churro at a county fair. Critics and fans alike slammed the movie for its muddled direction, questionable technical execution, and, you guessed it, a sense that the entire production was lost, confused, and trying way way too hard to be something it wasn't. Disney's marketing machine tried to save face, doling out quirky TV spots featuring, get this, Dopey declaring that everyone was rushing to theaters, a move that left many of us rolling our eyes so hard we nearly saw our retinas. The promo just didn't connect with the reality of the situation. It was like trying to pass off stale bread as gourmet. It might look decent on paper, but honey, it's just not cutting it.
She's talented, she's attractive, she's got skill. But there are a lot of actresses in Hollywood who bring all that to the table and are not going to absolutely sabotage your work.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Madison, how can a film about a classic fairy tale become this modern train wreck? Well, let's break it down. You've got a revered classic reinterpreted with all the modern bells and whistles. But in doing so, it loses the very essence that made it magical.
And I saw this comment that had like over 10,000 likes saying that if this movie was playing on a plane, I would walk out. And I'm just like, dang.
It's a tale of transformation, yes. But when you try too hard to appease every modern sensibility, you end up diluting the magic. Disney's version of Snow White isn't just a retelling, it's a reinvention that's left many of us saying, where's the magic, baby? Okay, lovelies, if you think this tea is hot, hit that subscribe button right now because, baby, we're just getting warmed up. And trust me, your girl's got receipts and all the juicy deets that you won't want to miss as we unravel every scandal and plot twist coming from Disney's live-action remake. So what happens after a film like this? Well, Disney's Snow White isn't just a film, it's a cultural phenomenon wrapped in controversy. Controversy that's spilling over into every corner of Hollywood. Critics have been busy with headlines calling the film exhaustingly awful and a box office disaster. But here's the thing, even as the numbers drop and the online rants multiply, there's still a pulse, a glimmer of hope among those who believe that every misstep in Hollywood is just another lesson in the wild, unpredictable art of storytelling. Let's talk legacy, shall we? For decades, Disney has mastered the art of reimagining its classics. Some remakes, like the new Cinderella and The Lion King, have soared to incredible heights. Others, like Dumbo, have fumbled. With Snow White, Disney gambled big. They banked on nostalgia, on innovation, and on a fresh twist to a timeless tale. But sometimes you can't just sprinkle modern fairy dust on something that was built on a foundation of pure magic. And oh, honey, the fallout has been dramatic. Rachel Zegler's unapologetic declarations about the outdated nature of the original have left many fans feeling like their cherished memories of the animated classic were being disrespected. They missed the simplicity of a fairy tale that, despite its flaws, captured their hearts and imaginations. Meanwhile, the use of CGI for the dwarfs has left a bitter taste for those who believe in authentic representation, a community that felt robbed of real opportunities by a decision meant to avoid old stereotypes. Now, in the midst of all this, the studio is scrambling to do damage control. Disney's big boss, yes, Bob Iger, is probably pacing in his office, wondering if this storm of controversy will be the undoing of one of its most iconic brands. And while some executives are confidently promising that the film's momentum will pick up, the reality is that box office numbers and social media sentiment are hard to change once the narrative is set. There's also an interesting layer to this whole debacle, the clash of cultures. On one hand, you have a film trying to honor its heritage by referencing the magic of 1937. On the other, it's trying to speak to a modern audience that values inclusivity, empowerment, and yes, a healthy dose of political candor. And when you mix in the fact that two of its stars are practically polar opposites in political ideology, with Zegler's fervent pro-Palestinian posts and Godot's staunch support for Israel, you end up with a recipe for endless Twitter feuds and YouTube rants that, let's face it, only fuel the fire. And let's not even get started on the aftermath. With a muted Hollywood premiere, no bombastic red carpet, just a low-key event at El Capitan Theater, Disney is clearly trying to dodge further blowback. But can a film with such a rocky buildup ever truly escape its own shadow? Critics say it's a cautionary tale of what happens when you tamper too much with a classic. And honestly, folks, the internet seems to agree. Now, while some die-hard Disney fans have retreated back to the comforting glow of the 1937 original, or even rewatched other faithful live-action adaptations, others are left wondering if this controversial retelling might actually signal a turning point for Disney. Is this the moment when the House of Mouse rethinks its approach to remakes? Will the lessons learned from Snow White, the missteps, the backlash, the fierce debates, force a shift in strategy? Or will Disney double down on its modern, woke reinventions, even if they end up alienating a generation of fans? Fam, this is Hollywood in real time. It's messy, it's unpredictable, and sometimes it's downright scandalous. And trust me, whether you're laughing at the absurdity of CGI dwarfs or shaking your head at a princess who refuses to wait for a prince, you can't help but be drawn into the drama. Box office analysts are already whispering that Snow White's debut weekend numbers might spell trouble. While some previews did manage to pull in a few $1,000,000, the overall performance is more meh than magical. And as the film hits streaming platforms later this year, the debate will only intensify. Will audiences give this modern retelling a second chance once they see it on demand? Or is the damage to its legacy already done? Here's the tea. If Rachel Zegler manages to bounce back and reinvent herself after this colossal misfire, it could be a testament to the resilience of young talent in Hollywood. But if her star dims, if the backlash sticks like glitter on your favorite outfit, then Snow White might just become a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the most beloved classics can crumble when you try too hard to fix what isn't broken. And let's be real, while we're here to dish out the drama, this saga has one big takeaway. When you mess with a classic, you're not just rewriting a story, you're rewriting history. Disney's attempt to modernize Snow White might have been an ambitious, even brave move, but sometimes the magic lies in its imperfections. When you take away the familiar warmth of the classic tale, you risk losing that spark that made it a fairy tale for the ages. So what does this mean for the future of Disney remakes? Will we see a return to the classic, faithful adaptations of old, or will studios continue to chase after this new formula, no matter how many haters it stokes along the way? I'm betting on a bit of both. The Hollywood machine is relentless, and while the critics have their say, sometimes even a flop can lead to a blockbuster turnaround if the lessons are learned. Hold up, besties. If you're loving this drama and want every scintillating detail on how Hollywood turns legends into controversies, hit that like button and subscribe now. Trust me, the tea's only going to get hotter and you don't want to miss a single drop. All right, darlings, let's wrap up this roller coaster of a tale. Disney's Snow White, the live-action remake that promised magic and delivered, well, let's just say a very mixed bag of modern controversies, is out in the wild now. And whether you're here for the progressive reimagining or you're mourning the loss of the classic tale, one thing's for sure, it has sparked conversations that go way beyond the box office numbers. For those of you who grew up enchanted by the original, the new Snow White might feel like a stranger at the dinner table. But for the younger crowd who see this as a bold step towards redefining what it means to be a Disney princess, it's a sign that the world is changing fast. And honestly, isn't that what a fairy tale is supposed to be? A living story that evolves with its audience? Look, I get it. Change can be scary, especially when it's wrapped in so much controversy. But sometimes a little chaos is exactly what we need to shake things up. Disney's gamble with Snow White might have missed the mark for many, but it's also a bold experiment. And in Hollywood, bold experiments are what give us the stories we talk about for years to come. Now, I want to know, what do you think about Disney's latest move? Are you team classic, or are you ready to embrace this new, modern fairy tale? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm dying to hear your opinions. And before I sign off, let me leave you with one last thought. In Hollywood, every controversy is a lesson, every scandal a stepping stone, and every flop, well, sometimes it just turns into the biggest comeback story ever. So whether you're cheering for change or clinging to the classics, remember, at the end of the day, the magic is in the story you choose to believe. I'm Madison Starr, and I'm signing off with this little nugget of advice. Never say it can't get any crazier, because trust me, in Hollywood, it always can. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more drama, more gossip, and more of that delicious Hollywood tea you know I serve up best. Thanks for watching, babes. Remember, whether you're here for the glamour, the gossip, or the gritty truth behind the headlines, I've got you covered. I'll catch you in the next scandalous update. Until then, keep your eyes on the stars and your heart on fire. Stay messy, stay blessed, and as always, keep spilling that tea.